All right, welcome into today's video. Today I am going to be tier ranking the Chicago Bears head coaching candidates. They have officially filed 20 requests to interview coaches around the NFL and college football. It is down to 19 since Mike Vrabel, who was my second choice as head coach of the Chicago Bears, is now the head coach of the New England Patriots. 19 of them. I'm going to just come out and say it. That's too damn much. It's too damn much. You had a month and a half to figure it the fuck out, and you didn't. How do you not have a shorter list than this? You by far have the longest list in the NFL. It just goes to show you the dysfunction of this franchise. We still don't know who's calling the shots. They're, of course, going to tell you with this many candidates that they're being thorough across all levels. College football candidates, defensive candidates, offensive candidates in the NFL. I think it's just delusional, and they're stupid, and they really have no idea what's going on at Halas Hall. But I made a tier list to talk about the candidates because it's pretty much impossible for me to rank them 1 through 19. It's simple as that. Here is the tier list that I have made. As you can see, I have 5 categories. I'm in love. This is cool. I'm pretty sad about it, but okay, not the end of the world. This is very bad, and kill me now. I have this in alphabetical order, starting with the B and Joe Brady, going all the way to the W and Anthony Weaver. So let's jump right into this with Joe Brady, 35 years old, current offensive coordinator for the Buffalo Bills, who have the second most points scored this year, 10th in total yards, top 10 passing offense. I want to go with cool. Now, love the age. Love that. This is one of those young offensive guys that you could bring in, connect a little bit better with Caleb. I have a few worries about Joe Brady. There's a reason I'm not in love with him. He was kind of a train wreck under Matt Rule in Carolina. Wasn't dealt the best hand. They didn't have much going on for them there. But another thing that worries me is how much of this is Josh Allen. You got to think about that. One-of-a-kind player, very off-script, probably outside of maybe Lamar Jackson, the most off-script quarterback in the National Football League. But he's one of those guys where he's going to make plays, these long, extended plays. So obviously, it's a positive that Caleb Williams has shown a lot of promise and off-script, which I think could be a good thing from Joe Brady. But can this offense work sound and structure? That's really what I'm worried about. He's been around. He's worked with a lot of good players, worked with a lot of good quarterbacks. I would be cool with it, but I'm not in love with it. I'm really not in love with it. Option number 2, we have the Bears interim head coach over the last 5 games. That is Thomas Brown. Unfortunately, I do love me some Thomas Brown. I thought with what he dealt with, he did an okay job despite going 1-4, but he really wasn't, he was the passing game coordinator. Then he became the offensive coordinator, and everything looked great, for those 3 games that he was the offensive coordinator. Caleb Williams maybe played his best football over those 3 games, and that was against playoff teams. There's 3 games against the division. You go Green Bay, you go Minnesota, you go Detroit, and those were 3 horrific ending games. The reason I say this is very bad is just because he was a part of the system of this train wreck that we were just all a part of. At times he had Caleb Williams working at a high level, and at times it was stalled until the second half. At times it was completely stalled, as you've seen in the Seattle game. So he didn't really show much as a head coach. I think this is a guy who in a few years could really be a good head coach in this league, but he's got a lot more to prove. I think he needs to work a few more years as an offensive coordinator. Number 3, we have Iowa State head coach Matt Campbell. Simple as this. Kill me now. I'm not a fan of college coaches. I don't know why the Chicago Bears are entertaining this. I really don't. Listen, I'm not going to sit here and lie to you and be like, I know what's going on in Iowa State, but they're not natties. They're not in the natties. Like, I get it. They're not one of those premier programs where they're really in a place to go out there and win national championships. But, like, why the hell are we entertaining an Iowa State head coach? I mean, he's been doing it for a while. I get it, but I'm not a fan of it. Kill me now. If we hired Matt Campbell, I would want to die. Number 4 on our list, we have Pete Carroll, who will be 74 when the season starts. I don't really need to get into Pete Carroll's track record. Great head coach, NFL all decades team coach in the 2010s. Did a lot of good things in Seattle with Russell Wilson. He really did cater to the quarterback. I don't know. I don't know where to put him. I want to put him in. This is very bad because the age really does scare the shit out of me. But I'm going to go with sad but okay because I do think he is a great head coach. I do think he's a guy who's going to come in and set the tone. I really don't believe the Bears are seriously considering him because of the age. And Pete Carroll's one of those guys who has been there, done that. He probably is going to want, a decent amount of power. One of the ways I'd be okay with it is, does he have a plan for in 3 to 4 years, when he's ready to officially step away from the game when he's too old? Does he have a successor that I can get behind? That's really one of the only positives. I think he could probably bring in some really good assistants with him, but I don't know. I'd say sad, but okay. Number 5, we have Brian Flores, the 43-year-old defensive coordinator for the Minnesota Vikings, who has kind of revitalized his career after the mess went down in Miami, but he's back in the coaching candidate search again, but I'm going to go with this is very bad. Head coaches who have come from the New England Patriots have pretty much all necessarily been train wrecks. Brian Flores, it was solid in Miami. It was kind of 500 football. It was decent, but 4 offensive coordinators in 3 years. The whole Tua and Fitzpatrick thing was an absolute mess. And it kind of seemed like he doesn't really do a lot for Tua's mental health, which I really don't have to put Caleb Williams through that. Maybe he's learned. And I think some positives could be, obviously, he's young. He's one of those guys who I do think is going to come in and set the tone on day one. He's going to be a no bullshit kind of guy. We're going to have a good defense. That's a guarantee with Brian Flores. It doesn't matter who you have on the field. His scheme is phenomenal. You're going to have a good defense. And another positive we could get from it is he could bring some offensive guys over from Minnesota to Chicago, but I want experienced play callers kind of more. KOC is the one calling the shots over there offensively. You bring McCown over, you entertain McCown as the offensive coordinator. I could probably get behind it, but I think it would be a very bad hire for where the Bears are right now in terms of the Chicago Bears are Caleb Williams. It's as simple as that. The Bears are Caleb Williams. Everything falls on his shoulders. And Brian Flores, to me, in his 4 years, or his 3 years as head coach of the Miami Dolphins, almost killed Tua and ruined Tua, who has kind of been revitalized. And I'm not the biggest Tua fan either. I'm not saying it's all on Brian Flores, but it was a mess, and I'm not a fan. Marcus Freeman, head coach of the Notre Dame Fighting Irish, who are currently in the national championship, so they can't even interview him for another week. Kill me now. It's as simple as this, guys. Simple as this. I'll put him at the top of the kill me now because I think it's cool that he was drafted by the Bears. I think he's probably the biggest, he's going to come in, change the culture. I think he's a good leader of men. I think that's awesome. But I'm not a fan of the collegiate to NFL jump. Outside of Pete Carroll, by the way, who spent like 15 years in the NFL, also head coach in the NFL before his time at USC. Outside of Pete Carroll, when was the last time we saw a successful coach come from college football and do a lot of great things? Who's made that jump? Jimmy Johnson in the late 80s? Was that the last time? I mean, over like what? Let's just do like the last 10 years. Chip Kelly, bad. Matt Rule, bad. I'm sure there's a few others, but I can't think of any because they haven't panned out. It's as simple as that. Maybe I'm missing somebody, but I'm not a fan of the college to the NFL jump. And I really hope that the Bears aren't seriously considering this. Number 7, we have Aaron Glenn. I'm going to bump him up to the sad but okay. Kind of in the similar realm of Pete Carroll, because Pete Carroll's also a defensive mind. The only thing that I'm going to give Glenn the benefit of the doubt here is I love that he was a former player, played a very long time in the NFL, multiple-time Pro Bowler. Love that he's a part of the Dan Campbell system, so he's going to come in, set the tone on the culture. Maybe. I mean, that's not a gimme. It's not a guarantee, but you see a lot of what Dan Campbell brings on the sidelines. You see the same things in Aaron Glenn. And I do think it would be good because he would probably bring some assistance over from Detroit, but he's not bringing the play caller over. Once again, I want play callers. I want established play callers. So he's almost in my this is very bad, but I do think being a part of one of the best, you know, systems in the NFL right now, who's done a lot with a very injured unit. Yeah, I think it would be okay. It wouldn't be the absolute end of the world if we hired Aaron Glenn. I'll say that. All right, here we go. I'm in love. Ben Johnson. Simple as that. The top candidate on everyone's list. I could not tell you probably, at least in my, I'm sure there's a few in my lifetime, of course, but I couldn't tell you the last time that I seen a coordinator have this much leverage in a head coaching search. Brian Dabble was huge in 2022. He was not Ben Johnson level. He wasn't Ben Johnson level. I mean, they're talking football operations here. He's going to get a fat check. So, yeah, I'm in love. Ben Johnson, cream of the crop. That's who I want for Caleb Williams. There seems to be some mutual interest. I know Las Vegas is going all in on him. That scares the shit out of me. They're firing GMs. They've got Tom Brady. Rumor has it they're potentially going to offer him football operations control, let him choose his own GM. The Bears aren't going to offer him that because they're stupid. So, yeah, I'm a little afraid that we're going to lose out on him, but apparently he loves Caleb Williams, and it would be nice, to drag that away from the Detroit Lions in our own division. Sign me up for Ben Johnson. He's my guy. That's the only guy I want. He's had a very long career, worked with a lot of people. He's been calling plays for 3 years. Rejuvenized Jared Goff's career. I want Ben Johnson. Vance Joseph, our number 9 candidate on this list. Kill me now. Former head coaching experience is nice. What he's done in Denver is phenomenal, I think, with a below average unit in terms of roster. Turning those guys into a real threat defensively has been great. I think he works well with Sean Payton. I liked what he did in Arizona. I just don't want a defensive mind like him. And just it didn't really work out in Denver in 2017, 2018. Was he dealt the best hand? No. But at 52, previous head coach, and it just really was kind of a train wreck in Denver. No, yeah, kill me now. I would say it's as simple as that. Mike Kafka, kill me now. You could say, oh, Will, he worked for 5 seasons under Andy Reid. Yeah, so did Doug Peterson and Matt Nagy and Eric Bieniemy. It's not always guaranteed when you're coming from the coaching tree. He's been the Giants offensive coordinator for the past 3 seasons under Brian Daboll. All 3 of those years, they've had bottom 5 passing offenses. He doesn't call plays. The probably coolest thing about him is that he's born in Chicago. And, he did spend 5 years as a backup quarterback in the NFL. Kill me now. I'm sorry. I don't want to hire the offensive coordinator who doesn't call plays from a offense who has been bottom 5 in passing the last 3 seasons. I'm kill me. Like, yeah, sorry, I get it. He is a offensive coordinator, Will. Like, you never know. You might take a swing and get it. Like, it's all luck. I get that. No. Kill me now. It's as simple as that. Cliff Kingsbury. An interesting one, but I'm going to go ahead and put him in this sad but okay list. Obviously, what he's done with Jaden Daniels is great. They have a top 5, top 10 offense this year. Did a lot of good things in Arizona as an offensive play caller. Worked with Patrick Mahomes, Kyler Murray, similar play styles to Caleb Williams. Worked with Caleb Williams in 2023 at USC. But I am deathly afraid of him as a head coach. It was a train wreck in Arizona. An absolute train wreck in Arizona. The only reason he is in the sad but okay is because he obviously what he did with Patrick Mahomes. He's worked with Kyler Murray, like I said, 2 quarterbacks who are similar play styles to Caleb Williams, and he has spent time with Caleb Williams. That's the only reason he's in the okay list. We've seen the Kingsbury fall off. Second half of the season hasn't always been the greatest for him, especially late games. Playoffs, terrible. He collapsed in the end of the year. Seemed like every year in Arizona. Scares the shit out of me. Let's move on. Mike McCarthy. You guys might be taken away by this one, but I'll be cool with Mike McCarthy. Obviously, his experience goes a long way. He's done a lot of good things in both Green Bay and in Dallas. Some bad. Everybody's going to point to the exact same thing that I just had with Cliff Kingsbury. Will he falls off in the late season? He can't win in the playoffs, especially in Dallas. I mean, going 12-5 all those years, getting bounced in the first round, terrible, scary. I think it was probably smart that they parted ways. Why I would be cool with him is because everywhere he goes, quarterbacks have turned to gold. They really have. I mean, Dak Prescott has looked like an MVP multiple seasons under Mike McCarthy. Aaron Rodgers won multiple MVPs under Mike McCarthy. They've had a top 5 passing offense every single time that Dak Prescott has been healthy. Top 5 in points scored 3 straight years. I think they led in points scored like a couple of those years. My biggest fear, really, obviously, postseason success. Another fear of mine, no head coach has won a Super Bowl with 2 different franchises. I'm a big believer in history, so are we going to win a Super Bowl with Mike McCarthy? Doesn't really look like it. Obviously, it's history for a reason, so there's a chance to make it as well, but that does scare me. But I think he's going to be a guy who's going to get Caleb Williams into the next level as a top 10 passer, arguably a top 5 passer in this league. So that's why I would be cool with McCarthy. Todd Monken, offensive coordinator for the Baltimore Ravens. I'm going to put him in the sad but okay. And I'm going to put him at the top of my sad but okay list. Kind of the similar thing with Joe Brady. How much of is Lamar Jackson? Obviously Lamar won MVP last year. He's looking poised to win MVP this season. They've had top 5 offense the last 2 seasons. He did a lot of good things with Kirby Smart in Georgia. But the question remains, how much of this is Lamar Jackson? Like I said, maybe the most off-script quarterback in all of football. Is there real structure in that offense? I think so. You watch a lot of their games. Lamar has improved as a pocket passer. It was a mess with Greg Roman. And over the last 2 years, Lamar has transcended into easily being a top 3 quarterback in football. Like I said, how much of that is on Monken? I don't know. He's obviously played a part in it because, like I said, it was a disaster with Greg Roman. Why I wouldn't be necessarily like great with it is, he is 58. He's never been a head coach. He's been a part of some bad, situations as well. He was an offensive coordinator for 16 through 18 with the Bucks. Wasn't necessarily all that great in Tampa Bay. He was offensive coordinator under Freddie Kitchens in 2019 with the Browns. That was a mess. We all know that. But I do like his experience. I like that he's got a lot of play calling experience. So, yeah, I would be okay with the hire. Like I said, the age worries me with not being a previous head coach. Like, Will, you just put Mike McCarthy, who's 61, in your cool category. But, yeah, he hasn't been a head coach yet. Why is it taking him so long to get to this level? Is it all Lamar Jackson? Is that the only reason he's getting these head coaching interviews? That's kind of what I'm talking about. Next up, we have Drew Petzing, offensive coordinator for the Arizona Cardinals the last 2 seasons. The only reason that Drew Petzing is not in my kill me now category is because he's worked with Kevin Stefanski in Minnesota. He was brought over with him to the Cleveland Browns to be the passing quarterback coach, passing game coordinator, tight end coach. So I like that. I do enjoy that because I admire Stefanski. I really do. I have deep admiration for Stefanski. I think he's a really solid head coach. Obviously, he's proven to be so. 2-time coach of the year. So I love that he's worked with Stefanski. But you look at the last 2 years with the Cardinals, Kyler Murray just doesn't look like Kyler Murray used to. I think he was brought in to fix that and get him to that level, and he just hasn't. They've had a top 15 offense, but they've been bottom 3rd in passing the last 2 seasons. Another thing that worries me, like I said, the only reason he's not in the kill me now is that he's worked with Kevin Stefanski, who I love. Riverboat, Ron Rivera, kill me now, love him. 63 years old. Obviously he was just with the Commanders for 4 seasons, I believe. Did a lot of good things in Carolina. Took him to a Super Bowl. Won Coach of the Year a couple times. This would be his 3rd stint as head coach. Didn't look great in Washington whatsoever. He played for the 85 Bears, defensive coordinator in 06 when he went to the Super Bowl. But, it's just his 3rd stint. He's 63 years old. He's a defensive mind. Kill me. Like, what are we doing? I love Riverboat Ron. I think he's a great guy. I think he did a lot of great things in the NFL, but I think we're just kind of past the prime here. I'm not in it. David Shaw, kill me now. Why do I got to get into this? He hasn't coached in the NFL since 2005. He was with Stanford for 12 seasons. That's cool. He's currently the Broncos senior personnel executive. That is not coaching. Simple as this. Why? I don't even know why the Bears are entertaining this. Like, why are the Bears entertaining this whatsoever? Because he had a cool year with Andrew Luck in 2011. Like, seriously. And there's nothing against David Shaw. I think, what he did in Stanford was pretty solid. But I don't even know why we're entertaining this. This guy hasn't coached in the NFL since 2005. Like, it blows my mind. Some of these candidates just blow my mind. Arthur Smith. I don't know where to put Arthur Smith. He's flowing on the "this is very bad" and the "kill me now." He got hired as a head coach for a reason. What he did in Tennessee under Vrabel was very phenomenal. Really, really helped rejuvenize Ryan Tannehill, and Matt LaFleur, one of those guys as well, who was a part of that. And I also don't think he was dealt the best hand in Atlanta whatsoever. Ritter, Mariota, Heineke, just a mess. Just a mess in Atlanta. Wasn't dealt the best hand whatsoever. But he really didn't use his weapons properly. Kyle Pitts might suck now, but Bijan Robinson wasn't used to the fullest of his abilities in the rookie season. And you kind of see, he's currently the Steelers' offensive coordinator, which was somewhat better than it has been the last few seasons, but they still ended up bottom 15 in total offense and finished 27th in passing yards and 20th in passing touchdowns. I think you can kill me now. Kill me now. I think I'd be thoroughly upset. Would I be more? But this is what I'm saying. Would I be more upset if we hired Drew Petzing? Probably. I'll probably be more upset if we hired Drew Petzing than Arthur Smith. I'll put him right there. This is very bad. Adam Stananovich, the Bears just put this in today. I believe the Bears interviewed him for the offensive coordinator role in 2022. Kill me now. Listen, Matt LaFleur is a great head coach. I am the one who thinks that Matt LaFleur is the top 5 head coach. Some Packer fans will disagree with me. They're crazy. Grass isn't always greener on the other side. He's not a play caller. Not a play caller. Simple as that. I don't know if he's ever even called plays. I like that he's worked with Kyle Shanahan for 2 years as an assistant offensive line coach. In 17 and 18, he joined LaFleur in 2019 for the Packers offensive line coach for a few seasons before becoming the offensive coordinator 3 years ago. He's been their offensive coordinator the last 3 seasons. It's the Matt LaFleur show. It's simple as that. Could he come in and probably fix the Bears offensive line? Yeah, that would be great. We need that. But this isn't a name that jumps off the page to me whatsoever, regardless if he comes from our division or not, regardless if he comes from under LaFleur or not. I don't care. Run game coordinator and offensive line coach. That's not what we want. We got Caleb Williams. Anthony Weaver. I have nothing against Anthony Weaver whatsoever. I feel bad that I have to put him in the kill me now because I really don't know much about him. I'm sure he's got to be a great leader of men for the Bears to be putting in this interview request because this is his first season as the Dolphins defensive coordinator. And he's only been a defensive coordinator for one more season in this league, and it was in 2020 with the Houston Texans. And he spent the previous 3 seasons in Baltimore as a defensive assistant. He did spend 7 years in the NFL as a DN. That's cool. I don't know why the Bears are entertaining this. Nothing against Anthony Weaver, once again. I don't know much about the guy. Sure, he's a great guy. He has to be like the ultimate leader of men for the Bears to be entertaining this. Then again, I keep asking, I don't know why the Bears are entertaining this. It's simple, because they're dumb. And it also just doesn't help that he's a defensive mind. Who is the highest defensive mind on my list? Pete Carroll and Aaron Glenn. Those are the 2 highest defensive minds, and I would be sad if we hired them. I would be okay with it, but I would be sad if we hired those guys. A lot of these guys are defensive guys. Like, you got Brian Flores, Matt Campbell. Have no idea what he is because he did play defense. He was a defensive end, I believe, in college, but he called offenses in Toledo. And I don't know if he's even been calling plays in Iowa State. Don't know. Vance Joseph, defensive guy. Sorry. Mike Kafka, not defense. Defense, offense, defense. You know, a lot of these guys in the bottom of my list, they're just strictly here because they're defensive guys, and I don't want that. Simple as that. But that is going to wrap up my tier list for Chicago Bears head coaching candidates. Let's just say this. Let's pray we hire Ben Johnson. Simple as that. Really simple as that. That's all I want. All I want is to hire Ben Johnson. And I don't have any faith that they will. I don't have any faith that they will. Odds are we're going to end up being sad about the hire. I think we're going to probably fall in this like sad but okay range. Aaron Glenn, Todd Monken, Cliff Kingsbury, Pete Carroll. I wouldn't love it because I'm not in love with them, but I would be happy if it was Joe Brady or Mike McCarthy. But none of these guys, none of them should be entertained until Ben Johnson either chooses to stay in Detroit or chooses another team over us, which I would not be surprised because we are terrible. But nobody else should be hired before Ben Johnson makes any decision. He's your all in. That's the guy you go get. Simple as that. Thank you guys so much for tuning into today's video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Let's pray the Bears make the right decision. Bear down.